What is up, peeps? Happy Tuesday evening to you. Got a little light upgrades here. Starting to get the room together. It'll be together real soon. So hopefully you can see me a little bit better and working on a microphone thing. We'll be getting to that. But excuse me, I'll be able to really get back into this here leading up into Christmas and after. And a couple things. So Monday, the 23rd, I worked the 22nd and the 26th this year. So I'm off for the holidays, which is awesome. Last year I worked Christmas Eve. If you're feeling sporty Christmas Eve, go back and look at my Christmas Eve video from last year when we were working. It was pretty cool. It sucks being away from your family, but we're not bankers. So someone has to work, right? But Monday the 23rd, we'll do a Christmas special. And my idea, if I could pull it off for the Christmas special, is to offer you ghosts of Christmas past, future, and present. So hopefully we can make that happen with a couple special guests popping in. It'll be real light. I thought of doing like a Christmas special on Christmas crimes. That's interesting. Watch some videos on it. But I'd like this Christmas special to be light and fun. And, you know, we had a members only where we talked about colored versus white. What's your favorite food to eat, drink, whatever you like to do, favorite traditions. I like hearing all that stuff. I like hearing different things that people eat in different countries and even in different states, you know, things that I've never, ever would consider a Christmas thing people eat on Christmas. And I think that's really cool. True crime update. Rex Heuerman's been charged with number 7. Not a surprise to anyone that watches this channel or follows true crime closely or any of the profiling things. You're going now from, if I'm not mistaken, 93 to like 2007, roughly. I don't know if those years are exactly correct. That's 14 years, 15 years or so. He was probably worked before then and after then. So he's going to be what they call prodigious as a killer. I'm not going to make any guesstimates on any numbers, but it's going to be I would think it's going to be at least double what he's charged with now. And they're at 7. Maybe he doesn't get charged with all of them. Maybe there's some of the evidence is like circumstantial. They don't want to take it to trial. When they put them away for enough of these murders, they won't charge them, but you never know. Some of these people come later and talk. But we'll see what happens with Heuerman. I don't know if he's going to be the kind of guy that talks, but I'm not exactly sure. New Year's Eve will be my next members only. It's the last Tuesday of the month. We do the first and the last Tuesday of the month. It'll also be my 2-year anniversary on YouTube. So 2 years ago, excuse me, I did a video on YouTube on New Year's Eve. And yeah, that'll be pretty cool. So that'll be a 2-year anniversary. I'm not sure what the theme of that will be yet. But maybe we'll put a poll up for that. How about that? We'll do a poll for that. And we'll see how we do there. So but anyways, let's say hi to everybody, and let's get into tonight's show, Arson for Profit, Professionals, and was Flora that, so to speak. So we'll cover some things. I'll show you what we look at. I'll show you how we're trained general firefighters, not fire investigators, but general firefighters, what they tell us to look for, what things that we do, precautions we take, and different things like that. So Gibbo, who's watching, good to see you. Merry Christmas, CJK. That Christmas Day game's coming quick. My Steelers lost this weekend to a good Philly team. What's up, 63? Good to see you. However, I'd rather them lose to Philly and beat Baltimore, who they play Saturday. And I work Sunday, so that's pretty cool. What's up, Big Fish? How are you? Good to see you. Scout, good to see you. As always, Jinx. Jinx is always there. Like, share, subscribe if you think I'm doing good work. I don't know if Charles is in here, Necessary Evil, but I'm going to plan on doing something with him. I don't know if we'll get what's up, Miranda? Good to see you. I don't know if we'll get it in before the end of this year, but he wanted to do something on Flora too. So anyone who covers Flora, you know, and has at least a rational theory, even if it's not my theory, I will share or go on or do anything they want to do, answer questions, however they'd like to do it. But I know Charles is interested. I sent him everything that I had on it. Pure evil, yeah, he's a killing machine. Rex Huerman, it was a killing machine. And he's a little more what you would think of a serial killer, big, beastly looking guy, right? But he had a steady job. But Flora was the work of a firebug arsonist and targeted. So we know it's 100% it's arson. It's been ruled arson. What type of arson we'll talk about. We'll explain that. But it's been ruled arson by the Indiana State Police. Everybody, you know, that was one thing that kind of was never in question. Even with Randall when he was in there and he said multiple points of origin, and we're going to talk about that, which wasn't true. But Randall, Mike Vergon, the other investigator for Birch Tree Holdings, everyone, it's an arson fire. But there's different types of arson, and we'll talk about that and different things that you look at and that we look at. Joe, good to see you. Sorry to hear about your cat there, and hope everything's getting better with you. It was great to see the pictures of the people that went out to it was a Golden Corral and had dinner. The Jinx, Frank, Randy, a bunch of people were there. I don't want to leave anyone out, but I enjoyed seeing them pictures. Frank sent me a bunch. I saw a couple in someone's Discord. Been active in Discord as I have in the past. Target the girl and a boyfriend. That's an interesting theory too. And listen, I can't rule it out. I don't think so, but it's very interesting. And the more that people get into Flora, the more theories and interesting things that comes out. That's a great point, Mustang. That's an interesting point. You know, looked at this case many ways. I've never looked at them before. Their smoke detectors work. I do have an audio interview with the guy that lived up there. Their names are out there, but definitely something worthwhile, worth talking about. I've been working another thing lately, kind of off to the side with a name that I received, and it's just so hard. But anyone that gives me anything, I run with it. I try to do. I even kicked it to a couple other people that are better at researching than me, and they've been sending me stuff as they find it. Yes, and yes. Mustang knows that Carrie L spelled with one L, as was pointed out to me by Kathy. Something could have happened there. Listen, CJK, to us, and even people that live there, those marsh fields can look like, you know, you might live there all your life, but you're not going to cross over the same piece of ground twice, right? It's right by a road, but it's kind of at the same time, it's very abandoned, if you will. I think when Huerman looks at that, he can almost see a map in his head, and maybe he did run out of room. There's also a theory there was multiple killers using that as dumping grounds. Multiple killers were operating. That's my theory with Atlanta. We talked about Atlanta a little while ago. There was multiple serial killers. There was child predators, child traffickers, and there was some people that took advantage of the situation. So, like, if I could look at Atlanta, I would mold like 3 or 4 theories together. I saw that Jinx too. I think I shared it on YouTube. If you go check my YouTube out, if not, go check out Jinx's page. They go decorate for every holiday. Did another beautiful job checking there. If you do go to Indiana at some point, if you go see the Monon High Bridge, even though that case is in the can, it's been adjudicated. it's still worth it to go see it to understand when people say things about the crime scene that haven't been there. You could like, well, yeah, I used to think that too till I went there. Indianapolis is about around an hour from that. Delphi, Flora, which is real close together. I think it's about an hour from West Lafayette because that's where we stayed at, roughly. And the Crown Hill Cemetery, it's a giant cemetery. I mean, it's huge. You can see the girls' plots. They're next to another child who passed away, unfortunately, very young. I got to meet I think that was his mom or grandmother. I think it was his mom. And there's a lot of famous people buried there. It's a very old and very like interesting cemetery. But if you get that chance, like especially if you're traveling like me, 7 or 8 hours, what's one more hour coming back? Especially coming home, we kind of were going that way. We weren't going necessarily to north, or actually from there, I guess it would be south. But go have the opportunity to do one of the walks. Go check it out. Yeah, you know what? I have. Since I became celiac, I used to get headaches all the time. Since I became celiac about 4 years ago, I've had 1 or 2 headaches. I used to get them a lot. I think it's like something scratchy in my throat. We have weather going back and forth. It was 54 degrees yesterday. It's going to go down into the teens tomorrow night. Stuff in the air. So that's a good point, though. I do like hot tea. I like Earl Grey. And I put a little bit of honey in it. And then we have that real good sugar, the brown, like pure cane, like big pieces of sugar. It's like kosher salt, but it's sugar. That helps you understand it. But that's a good point. I have some burrito tacos cooking. Hey, Shane, good to see you. Brooke's daughter's coming home from college. She'll be in tonight. Brooke's working at her other job, so they'll all be home. I work tomorrow, so I don't even know if I'll be up when they get home. No, that's not a problem, Jinx. I'm glad that everyone could check that out for themselves now, because that goes on every holiday. Gluten's terrible. It's terrible for me. Has a really bad reaction to me. But anyways, let's get into a couple things here, and let's get just general background stuff. I'm not going to try to give you guys an introduction into arson class or anything like that. But there's a couple things that are just background things that I'd like you to know that I think you could pick up. They're pretty simple. And these are things that they teach us. This stuff, a lot of these slides are ripped out of the IFSTA manual, the Essentials of Firefighting, volume, whatever the fuck they're on now. I'm not even sure what it is. But I just wanted to show you these things and just, expand your knowledge a little bit as we start getting into this. I'll make sure we get the right thing up. Okay, so let's talk about arson for profit a little bit. Arson, here's what it says here. We're going to show you some slides. Is usually for profit or from anger. So that's kind of an open-ended thing. We got percentages coming up though. Most arsonists are young white males. Excuse me. What you're going to find out is between 40 and 50%, depending on which study you read, but it's within 10%, so that's reasonable. They're actually under the age of 18, which is kind of crazy to me, So it's a very young man's crime, so to speak. Most arsonists have unstable family history and background of humiliation. So why would someone that's humiliated be intrigued by fire? Control. Holy control. Now, I'm not saying that these arsonists grow up to be serial killers. They could be, nuisance fire people. But we do have those. They're part of the fire, or the fire triangle, or the fire tetrahedron, the homicidal triad, or the McDonald triad, which some people has lost some steam maybe over the years, but you have bedwetting at an older age, bedwetting once you already have been, potty trained, and you revert to that. Fire setting as a youth, being fascinated by fires, and cruelty to animals, very cruel things. But you're humiliated, and it's usually a mother figure that does it. We always talk about that too. So they have a lot of the same traits as serial killers. Maybe they don't have that last missing piece where they can actually lay hands on people. So they're doing this from afar. And if sometimes they do it, other motivations, excitement, revenge, or thrills. So that covers everything, but it doesn't break it down, right? But we'll see the percentages here in another slide, because I think that's important. There it is as we speak. So 14% of arsons are revenge, 60% are vandalism, crime concealment 7%, insurance claims 16%. Excitement and pyromaniacs, 3%. Now I know that other thing said most fires were this or that, and if you add them together, you're only looking at about 30 or 37%. With this slide, vandalism is the highest. So vandalism, here's the thing with vandalism, excitement, and pyromaniacs. Those things are tied together and sometimes confused. The excitement pyromaniacs, and you're going to see 3%, 5%. It's always usually under 6 or 7%. Those are the seriously sick, delusional people that will do things like watch the firemen work. They will find a secluded place, and this was David Berkowitz, the son of Sam. They would find a secluded place as the people showed up, put the fire out, and they would pleasure themselves in seclusion. That's a serious illness, right? But you've controlled this scene. You've brought all these firemen here. You have no control at home, right? You pee your bed and mom hangs your sheet outside. But here you've controlled all these cops and all these firemen. You did that. You controlled the scene. That's the way that they view this. Now, vandalism is like, it's weird that they put it here. Vandalism could be a couple different things. And we're going to lay this out, stretch this out a little further. Vandalism could be kids just fucking around. Hey, we're going to light something on fire to be an asshole. Or you could vandalize things for a reason. Maybe, people don't want to go to an abortion clinic and bomb it or light it on fire. Bombing and fires are technically different. But let's say they lit it on fire. That would be vandalism. They wouldn't be looking for any of these other things. Although you could argue revenge too. But revenge involves a personal thing when we look at arsons. People that knew each other. If you're attacking another side, another political ideology, it's not necessarily revenge. When we look at the fires, and I thought this was very important with Flora, and I talked to a lot of guys at work, and the one thing that's not listed here is like an electrical burning. But this is a chart. So as we pull up, sometimes we can see things we look for, not just obviously the house is on fire, right? Is there a lot of smoke coming out of the house, or is it just flames? If it's just flames, think about a campfire. That fire's burning good. It's already made ventilation and has all the oxygen it needs. When you see an especially smoky fire with not a lot of flame, those are the scariest ones. You don't know what a fire is. Very dangerous. It's an oxygen-starved fire, right? Flora was an oxygen-starved fire. We actually have science on that shows that. The person that shared that with me, we disagree on pretty much everything after that as far as the fire's built and everything like that. But that's a point that's just a fact. So you had an oxygen-starved fire. So you had a lot of smoke. Now you have the smoke will come out turbulent. Want to read the turbulence of the smoke. How fast is it moving? Is it coming out under pressure? Fast moving smoke coming out under pressure is scary as shit to firemen because something in there is burning like a son of a bitch, right? If it's just like lazy, like laying around smoke, then we have something burning, but it's not something that's big and overbearing right now. It's something that maybe that we can get to and room and contents, or something in a corner burning, a trash can or something like that. But anyways, things we look for: cooking oil, a yellowish flame with brown smoke, gasoline, yellow or white flame with black smoke. And I know if you're thinking about, well, if you're sitting at my campfire and I pour gasoline on it, listen, if the fire is burning, please don't pour anything on it, even lighter fluid once it's burning. Use it once it's maybe when it's very much in its incendiary stage or just starting. But once it's going, don't do it. Phosphorus, white. Phosphorus is metal. You'll see that a lot in cars. And it explodes, like sparks explode. It's pretty crazy. Paper wood fabric, reddish yellow, gray, black smoke. So one of the other things that you're not going to see, and I guess they're considering this paper wood fabric is electrical. Electrical is like a grayish. It's a very distinct smell. Remember, a lot of times on arson, firemen will come up and we'll smell the gasoline. You'll smell it. And you'll be like, well, we know what started this. We can't prove it by going in court and saying we smelled gasoline or kerosene or whatever, but it gives a good thing. I just got interviewed by the fire marshal 2 weeks ago. Psychologist of an arsonist, less than 25 years old, father not at home, domineering mother, academically challenged. You see a lot of these statistics are they're a couple clicks off, but they all pretty much point at the same thing. Academically challenged, emotionally and or physically disabled, unmarried, living with parents, inadequacy, security, fascination with fire, alcoholism, parental neglect or abuse. I can't tell you how much alcoholism is involved in serial crimes, serial burglaries, serial murders. they're almost all alcoholics. They might be into other drugs, but they're big alcoholics. Literally the same thing as serial killer stuff, except you're going to expand that age up to, I think, like 45 now or something like that. So just to show you that. Burn patterns, we talked about burn patterns before. So when you're looking at Flora's pictures, things that you kind of want to look for, okay? Char patterns, we talked about the char patterns, or alligatoring. Fire we just had a couple blocks away 2 shifts ago. I don't even remember. We've had 3 fires in 2 shifts. It's been fucking nuts. But like Tony Soprano says during football, it's our busy season. It's our busy season, calm. But we were looking at that. It was a shitty electrical job, and you could see, we want to take our cameras in there and take pictures, but you can see it basically looks like a black alligator on the floor rafter as we're looking up at it. So you'll see the alligatoring. That's the char pattern. The V, right? You're looking for a V. So let's say you walk into a room with nothing in it. You take some clothes and you put them against a wall and you light it on fire. What's going to happen to that wall is the smoke and the heat's going to burn into that wall, and it's going to burn a V right where that started at, because the fire goes up as it starts to burn, and it starts to go out and spread out. It doesn't stay in a thermal column unless something's pushing it up. Heat shadow is the same thing as like that burn that I showed you. It's an interesting phenomenon, but it'll like almost leave a shadow, and it's not similar to this, but the only thing it reminds me of is when we dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima to end World War II. People's shadows were burned into the walls that were left, which was it's a heat shadow. It's very bizarre, but it's just how it is. Chimney effect. Well, how's the chimney work? How's your chimney work? If you got a chimney, right, the heat goes up through it. Your chimneys in your house generally are your stairwells. They're on top of each other. I know, especially in older homes. So if you looked at your house and you cut everything away and left the stairwells, it's usually in the center of the house. That's a great way for fire to travel up through the stairwells. If you put fire smoke detectors in your basement, a lot of times when we put them in, we'll put them in on the bottom of the steps going up to the 2nd floor. So if you're coming out of the basement, we'll have them right there because you want it high up, because that smoke's going to come out of the basement and it's going to use your stairwell as a chimney. So that's the chimney effect. Everything begins to go up. But the chimney effect that we're talking about here is that similar to where that arson goes, where that starts at. It all starts to go up and kind of starts to go out, okay? Glass evidence. Glass evidence is important. Why? For several different reasons. Is there glass on the inside of the house? If there's glass on the inside of the house, usually means something came from the outside in. Did they throw something in? Did they break a window? Did the fireman break a window? We saw that in Flora. You had an oxygen-starved fire. And that guy, out of sync, without letting anybody know, took that big window out in front. That was worse than shooting gasoline into that fire. I can't stress that to you enough. People talk about accelerant. The worst accelerant we have is wind, air. Windy days, you can lose a block. You can have a house full of gasoline. It'll blow up. Once it blows up, then it'll burn for a while, but it'll relatively stay in its spot or to wherever it spreads slightly. Wind can blow fire for quite a while. So that's what happened there. The color of smoke, we talked about. Color to flame, we also just talked about. So those are the, let's get back to some questions. Those are what I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick and just show you some quick background on things. And these are the things that we look for in these fires. And, you know, like I said, the training that we all have, we're around 16 to 24 hours. I think all our guys have roughly an arson investigation training, and that's not a ton. And arson investigators have a lot more. But then we have so many fires here. You see it firsthand. Arson profile, it's very interesting and it's very hard to do. And I read a statistic today that like roughly 1% to 2% of arsonists get caught. You almost have to catch them in the act doing that. And I learned that a long time ago. It's very hard to prove unless you have them on camera. But hey, Boston Christian, good to see you. Cherry Blossom, good to see you. 18 are in chat. Yeah, I don't have 100 people in my chat, but if I have 18, 20, 30, everybody talks, which is awesome. Are fires more prevalent in the winter? Yes. In my town, they are. Now, this is a demographic thing, I think. So I live in an old town, a pretty poor town, an inner city, older homes. People do things. They take risks to keep their homes warm. People will keep stoves open, whether they're gas or electric, not knowing the CO it's putting off. But the furnaces, they're working harder, right? They're working harder, so they're running more, so things go bad. And then they'll have people that necessarily aren't reputable people, or what we see a lot is the landlord will send some dude in from the bar. Oh yeah, I know about furnaces. Pay him $30 and he'll say he fixed the furnace. And he did fix the furnace for a while, but then it ends up breaking or it runs past one of the safety checks, meaning if it gets too hot, it'll shut itself off. There's a lot of fail safes on furnaces, but yeah, here we do. Arson's more so in the summer, but Christmas trees, guys, if you have a real Christmas tree, they're fantastic. We don't get them anymore. My kids quit caring about it. Brooke has cats, and we don't have the tree would go that they haven't knocked down. We have 2 trees, haven't knocked down, one white, one colored lights. We'll talk about that Monday the 23rd. But you got to keep water in that. That's very dangerous. It's literally kindling for a fire once it gets dry. Arsonist would lead up to a house full of people. Yeah. Usually it's empty first. Usually for profit. For profit, they don't want anyone in there. We're going to talk about that. Well, Frank Meister's not in the chat because he's calling me. I don't think. Hey, Jason. No, haven't seen Michael around. I've been out of chats though recently. I want to get back into more people's chats. I've just had so much going on. We have contract things going on and all kind of shit to deal with the union. But I want to get in more people's chats. I've been watching some videos on different things, but catching lives and stuff like that. Before I go on that note, Sleuth has a really good theory. And as Mustang mentioned the theory before, it's a theory that I didn't consider before, and it's a plausible theory. And I encourage you to go watch it. I don't want to steal any thunder. It's only about 7 minutes. I don't know if he did a live on it or not, but it's only about 7 minutes. But I encourage you to go watch it. It's very interesting. And, I have to dig into that now because I really hadn't. I digged into a relative and, maybe not the greatest landlord in the world, but I don't think he did this for profit. But I understand the people that think so. Escalation, yeah. Well, I would think an escalation would be, maybe like a garbage can on fire, then maybe a vacant building. Usually what you see is these sick people that light these fires. They'll light stuff. They don't want to hurt anybody. It seems to me, and this is just in my experience and my job and my research and books and all the crazy profile and shit that I'm into and I read and study, is that the serial killer will stop before he starts burning houses down with people in it. Once he gets to that point, it's almost like it's hands-on time. Like, I burn enough shit. I don't want to burn anything else anymore. And I don't want to burn people because it's almost like you didn't, you get credit for it, so to speak, but it's not the same. Like if you go to jail and you were an arsonist, as opposed to someone that strangled people to death, you're not going to get that street respect. And in some of these people's fucked up heads, I just wonder if that's a thing. That's a theory. So what I'm saying is before these people go into serial arson for murder and just to kill and get their jollies off, I can't think of one that I've found that's where that's happened, where it's escalated. And these people continuously attack people and try to kill them with fire. Bombs, yes. But fire, I haven't seen it. But it's possible. But it seems like that's the jumping off point for the serial killing. Okay, I lit enough fires. Now I actually want to go kill a human being with my hands. I don't want to do it and watch from a block away. I want to do it with my hands. Almost like the sniper has the God complex, but it's much different. He kills from a distance. He or she kills from a distance, or they kill from a distance. And they get off on that. It's like pressing a button. I have so much power that I could press a button and you drop over dead. But it's a good question though. It's a very good question. But I don't see that. I don't see people going around and using fire as a means for serial killing, but I would definitely expect that they would build up. And if someone's really just into arson and burn and stuff, yeah, eventually they're going to want to burn something big. But you're the second one that said that. Yeah, I guess I got to have some tea today. We have some weather going back and forth here. Nothing hurts or nothing, but get my Earl Grey with some honey and that brown granulated cane sugar I like. Hirsch guy got his girlfriend arrested in northern Indiana for burning down big old barns. He's got him a while back on another barn. Last few had live animals. Huh? That's maybe a natural progression. Maybe the thought process there is after the animals, he goes to humans, but some people, I know a little bit about the case you're talking about with the girlfriend and everything like that. It's bizarre. It's not a common thing in arson teams either. Catching up with the chat. Hirschberg and his girlfriend. It's not. That's basically what the BAU did to start. They went to killers and asked them about current killers and what they might be thinking and what they might be doing. I don't know how much work has been done with arsonists. I'm sure they've done it where they've went and interviewed arsonists just to get like a baseline or get data. Certain people, these kind of people are being attacked, these kind of businesses. What is it? Hey, we have a problem here. This is, show them pictures of it. And these guys, some of them might know, hey, this is what I can tell you what they did by looking at that. So that's interesting. Hey, mother of all dragons, good to see you. Yeah, they are. And it's something from home. Like we looked at those few slides there. And they were humiliated. I'm not going to try to say that. Indiana is about an hour and a half from Flora. Last barn. Huh. And it was, if he was traveling around, it's odd. One of the big things that I have, one of the big problems where I think for profit is that there's people there. And I just don't see a give me 1 second here. I'll show you a couple others. I have another pretty good article. It's from firehouse.com. It's one of the big, firehouse fire engineering. They have a weekly or a monthly magazine. It gets mailed to like every fire station in the world for free. I think it's for free. And there's a lot of good articles, a lot of good things like that. This is an old article now. This is from 2010. So I'm going to pull this up and make sure I have the right thing on you now. Add to the stage. And there we go. So I don't know how good we could see that. Could we see that or no? Absolutely message it. 200 years old. I bet you they went up really fast. That wood was old and dry. Even in Indiana. I don't know if we can read that or not. Let me know if you guys can read that. On my screen, I can't read it because it's really, really low. So on those, what they usually have is a battery backup. Not all of them, and I don't know what the code is where you live if they have to or not. But if the power goes out, they're not going to work. So you would have like a 4 or 8 hour battery backup. But they're not going to have, when you screw them off the wall, there's no batteries in them. There's just wires. The battery backup would be wherever the power source is. I hope you guys can see this article I'm sharing. Because I on my screen, it doesn't look, on my StreamYard screen, it looks like it's crumpled up. But white chicken chili, I'm making burrito tacos as we speak. I've had it cooking for I put it in at like noon on low. Big ass roast with all this. Brooke told me to get all this shit, so I got all this shit and put in it. I shouldn't say shit, but Okay, so this is firehouse.com. Like I said, this is the if you pulled 100 firemen, probably 75 to 90 would read this, at least an article from this every month. Six motive classifications are associated with fire centers: vandalism, excitement, revenge, crime, concealment, profit, extremism. Vandalism we talked about before. So this has it broken down a little bit better. This vandalism here, we have 1 through 6. This traditionally, this is the list we go by. So this vandalism is kids, usually nuisance type stuff, setting garbage cans on fire. Maybe they set a house on fire, but usually it's nothing big. Maybe a car. You see cars. What we see around here is dumpsters and stuff like that. You might see a dumpster near a project or something, or maybe not a good area in town. Someone lights that on fire. Excitement. Excitement is your sick people. This is your pyromania. This is that 3 to 5% that get aroused. And that's what happens to them. They get aroused from this. So something went way wrong in their development. Things lined up perfectly wrong for them. Revenge. This is number 3. And in my opinion, this was the motive for Flora. Some revenge, some misplaced blame to Galen, not her kids, but someone had an axe to grind with her, and it was almost certainly horse shit. But I don't think it was because of the color of her skin, or I think there was something that they felt wronged. They were wronged by her or wronged by somebody in that house at some point. And that's the attack was based on, well, I was here before. The person who lit this, I would bet stake everything I own that they were in that house before, probably several times, knew the house well. I've said that all along, but this is my opinion. We could talk about, without naming names, although if we start talking about certain theories, names are probably going to come to the surface. You're going to know what we're talking about. A jilted lover, someone felt slighted somewhere. This is revenge. We're talking when we say revenge. Crime concealment is a couple of different things. Usually it's a homicide. They burn the place down and get rid of trace evidence and things like that. And listen, if that fire gets going good enough, it's a good way to do it, I guess. They're going to be able to identify the victim still, as long as, certain things aren't taken off. But the flesh, the DNA would be gone pretty much unless there was something inside. And remember, too, you can tell right away. It's pretty easy for them to tell if you're deceased and you're covered. Let's say you're covered in soot or you're burnt and your lungs aren't burnt, then they know that you stopped breathing before the fire started. So that was not the case in Flora. It was not the case there. So we know that. Profit is your insurance scams. That's your pros. We see a lot of that around here. Housing market's through the roof now. Houses are selling for a lot of money, even like some burnout houses. People are buying them left and right. Hopefully they buy mine here in about a month when it's ready to go on the market just as fast. But the professionals are never going to light a house with little kids inside. They're never going to light a house with anyone inside that they know of. Now, I know there's talk the girls maybe were supposed to be away another night or different things like that. I can't actually pinpoint exactly what the story is there for sure. But again, even in the wintertime, their house is right on the main drag. The girls are in and out, everyone waving to everybody. You're going to know that they're there. It's a small town. You could tell by looking at she had Aunt Jackie's car. You're going to know that, in my opinion. So I just don't see this for profit. I know Ayers had some other things. This is Josh, the owner of the building, the owner of the 2 buildings, which Sleuth points out, which, I knew that before, but I never considered his theory, which made me think and has got me down a hole. And maybe it's the right hole, maybe it isn't, but I'll go down it because I enjoy hearing new theories, and I appreciate Sleuth's work getting into this. But anyways, a couple other people too. Like I said, Charles is into it. I've emailed several people, and anyone else that wants it, kevlar148gmail.com. I'll send you everything I got. And extremism is the last one. Now, this is the extremism we talked about, like an abortion clinic before, or a political agenda. That's extremism. Okay, that's extremism. So I want to go show you just a couple things here. I don't think it's excitement. I don't think it's vandalism. Revenge is a type of fire, retaliation, or real or perceived injustice. Fire can result in deadly consequences. Targets of retaliation can be a person, institution, facility, societal, or group. Revenge fires directed at people are often a result of a fight or disagreement. The revenge fire setter will set a fire to the victim's home, vehicle, or possessions. The offender may be identified by the location of the area of origin and the materials involved in the fire. The fires that are located in the bedroom are usually in the closet and the bed. And fires located in the bedroom in my career, 10 out of 10 times, are a romantic battle. Also, 10 out of 10 times, you get a call someone setting someone's clothes on fire in a bathtub. It's a romantic thing. Something's happened. Remember Lisa Left Eye Lopez, formerly TLC. She's passed away. She was dating a football player called Andre Rison. She lit his clothes on fire in a mansion, Timberlands and some jeans, and it ended up burning his mansion down in Atlanta, giant mansion. The items used to set the fire are likely clothing and ordinary combustibles. So this isn't a high-tech professional. You're not using you're using basic materials. If a fire on the bed is discovered, make sure you identify the type of clothes. So this would be light and be clothes on fire. Maybe history or of an affair, domestic violence. Due to extreme emotional state of the arsonist, the attack is usually unsophisticated and unorganized. So this is your gut reaction. This, and I don't necessarily think this domestic violence or this or that, but I think this was a very unorganized fire set. And it wasn't a great fire. And this is what I mean. It didn't move as fast as a professional would have done. And I know it took the fire department a while to get there, and it took them a while to put water on it. But go back and watch that video. They start flowing water for about 10 seconds, and that fire goes black. It goes black. There's no more flame seen, and the pressure in which the smoke coming out is disintegrates like to almost nothing. Then you could tell they put the line down and they go up to get the girls. And then if you watch close enough, you could see all 4 extractions coming out the door. You could see Yoder being pulled out of the door by a fireman who crawls in for a second. I have those times and everything written down watching that. But watch what you've watched that in the archive has probably the best footage, the video of it. Go watch that with the things that we talked about tonight and see what you think. Watch the color. Watch how fast it's moving. And watch how fast that fire goes out with the minimal amount of water. It gets knocked down really quick. What we want to look for in arson fires, and we're taught, is you flow water, you knock it down, and a couple seconds later, it flares back up. Now, that fire flared back up, but not like the kind I've seen in my career. I'm talking seconds later. Like, as soon as you close the line and you start looking around, okay, is there a window to open? Whew, like you could hear it goes back up. And that did not happen there. But there obviously was some kind of accelerant used, right? They talk about the pour path, what we would call a trailer or pour path. It sounded like on the floor. And we know it came back from that back room. So did they light something in that back room and hope that pour path caught? Certainly possible. But the boondoggled investigation that was done and the collecting of evidence and leaving the place open and moving bodies from the scene, we've talked about that before. That's not what tonight's about, but it's going to make it extremely hard to catch an arsonist when it's extremely hard to catch an arsonist anyway. Profit may set a fire to escape financial obligations, increase property values. How you'll increase property values, I don't know. Commit insurance fraud or intimidate a business. Some jurisdictions fail to investigate vehicle fires, so they'll light people's cars on fire. People can't pay their payments. There's a story where another thing, I was going to show it to you, but it's not super relevant. 27 times they would buy RVs and cars, and then they would light them on fire. And there was like a group of like 12 people, and they would each do like 2 or 3, and they caught up to them. So they would buy the car, and or make a couple payments on it for maybe $1,000 or $1,500. Then a car would catch on fire, and then they were able to get like the full money for it, and doing the same thing with RVs, like a gap insurance type thing. Residential fraud is a type of fire set by the homeowner or tenant with the expectation of defrauding the insurance carrier. There are many reasons that a homeowner or landlord may burn the property. There may be an inability to rent the property or existing taxes and physical deteriorations. Commercial fraud may be used by the owner to destroy records, old equipment. The purpose is to collect insurance payouts while conducting the origin, and cause investigation. Make it a point to check the stock of the office area, make sure nothing's been removed prior. These fires may be used by members of organized crime. We talked about that. Or this is not organized crime, in my opinion. And OC is not just mafia. That would include extremist terrorist groups, or what we get into next here. This would be like your clan people, or different things like that. So let's get back to the comments here. And like I said, I just wanted to avail some of that information to you guys. Now, when people say insurance, they think this was an insurance scam. And we know that the house was appraised at, I think the number is $47,000. I should know off the top of my head by now. It's appraised, let's say $47,000. The rebuild value is at like $325,000. And it's more expensive to build a house now than it was then, right? But $325,000, I don't know. They got that. So, and then they get the payout for that, right? Even though it's an arson in Indiana, that's allowed to be. So would they still go for the insurance if they burn it down? You would say, and then, people died. Look at the other cases that they're involved in, right? And I know that there was a witness that came forward and said that Josh Ayers was bragging to her son about putting stuffing conduit with paper and things like that and lighting it on fire. So the conduit is like the little line in which the electrical will run. And if you light that on fire and you look at a wall, kind of would look like, it's really bad right where this wire was at. The wire will be burnt to nothing. There'll just be little pieces of metal. And we saw that at the fire the other week. And it's pretty clear when the electric causes the fire, right? Because the biggest charring is where the wire was running. And usually you could tell where the wire was running because there'll be little clips still on the wall, little metal like holes where the wire was running. The wire might be melted and fallen down because it's all just metal copper inside, and it's like shriveled up. But you'll be able to see that, and you'll see right away, there's a clip on the wall, a little eyelet where this was going up, and it's charred all the way up there. And then, it goes across the ceiling upstairs. Why would the fire move like that? There's nothing that would make it move like that. But here it goes. So I understand why people say that, but I just don't think that they're not going to do that with people in the house. And if they're experienced and they've done this before, so if you think that Ayers has done this before, this is more of a reason for you not to think that this particular fire was an arson. But he did get paid off, and that is wrong. There's no question about that. But that's one of the Indiana things, the Indiana laws that maybe need changed. I know a lot of people think Indiana laws need change after the Delphi case. I agree with you on some of them. I agree with people on some of them, but they have to be changed. Yeah, 10-year battery. So you'll know right away. So here's the thing with your smoke detectors, right? When they go bad, when the battery goes bad, you'll get a beep every 30 seconds. If that detector is activated and it's picking something up, it's not going to stop till you move it to fresh air. And you're going to get a beep, like every 2 seconds. But yeah, the new smoke detectors, you can't even change the battery anymore. You can't access the battery. It's a lithium-ion battery, and it's supposed to last 7 to 10 years. I've seen them last 5 to 15, so there's a pretty big gap. But yeah, you have to throw them away and buy new ones, or call your fire department if you have a smoke detector program like we do. Yeah, we see not a lot of that, but we see it. It happens. We've probably had 2 in the last month, and usually the holidays, police will tell you it's bad for domestics, and we'll see things like that close to the holidays. People will be burning stuff, and I've seen shoes. I've seen burn on a porch. I've seen people pour gasoline on a car. I've seen people load cars with people's possessions and burn them. I've seen houses catch on fire because people have burnt shit, and it catches curtains on fire. Bedroom, anything burned in the bedroom is usually, from my experience, someone cheated on somebody and someone's really pissed off. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. That's what I think Mustang said that before. You have to look at that, yeah. But so people are going to say, well, why would someone light a house that they live in or live next door to on fire, right? It sounds like a crazy thing. Who the fuck would ever do that? I've seen that a few times in my career. probably 5 or 6. So it happens. For different reasons, it happens. But like you might be butt up against the place, and I've seen it 5 or 6 times in my career. Now, usually, the issue was there was an abandoned house and the city wouldn't tear it down, where they were bitching. There's rats running in there, there's crackheads running in there, whatever, and they wouldn't get rid of it. But I've seen it, so it happens. It sounds insane, right? It sounds like, who's going to do that? People do it. Not a lot, but it happens. It definitely happens. I didn't think that, and I haven't found anything, but I haven't actually dug into it. Yeah, there's not a lot of information, and it's been, I mean, we're past 8 years now, so why not leave information out? Initially, you want to hold stuff back. I get it, but like, let's let it out. Yeah, prison. They're like the criminally insane. We used to have the criminally insane places where we used to take these nuts and lock them away. And now I can't do that anymore, so they're on the streets. And listen, I've looked at a lot of people right in that area, and there's certainly some pyromaniacs there, at least 2 or 3. And they're all white and they're all under 21, where they were at the time of the fire. Nobody was up in the house, and the neighbors upstairs say that the smoke detectors woke them up. They had working ones. The neighbors next door, I think the girlfriend or wife said that she was asleep or couldn't sleep or was up before she heard the fire. And I guess Sleuth's thing was maybe that her boyfriend or significant other was up. And he does have a pedigree of some crime. Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be extremely difficult for them to prove that. And, it's possible. Now, he didn't have his daughter that weekend. I don't know how often he had her, if it was every weekend or every other weekend, but you could point at that and say, well, she wasn't there. But I don't know. I rejected a couple of theories that I don't think it is, but what was mentioned tonight by a couple of different people it's certainly possible. Yeah, so that's kind of what Sleuth was saying in her. Yeah, it's a very interesting theory. A lot more about this case for me. Yeah, the profit theory is going to jump. I totally understand it. I get it. The way that fire was set, it could have been set better. If you didn't think anybody was home, why not open that front door? Why not pop another window or something like? I just don't know. I don't know. And then there's another tenant too. So the profit theory, there's another tenant too. So if this was a seasoned torch, they'd have done their RICO work on it, and they would have seen even if the girls aren't on, there's people upstairs, and we don't want to kill anybody. We just want to get the payoff. We don't want any investigation. The more, 4 children die, now it's a huge investigation. This isn't just your Carroll County house fire. It's, hey, I don't fucking know, mice with matches, birds with a cigarette. Doug Carter stated multiple times he doesn't think. Yeah. That's interesting too. I mean, so I always find that very interesting that he says that, but I heard him say it. I have videos of him say it, and I've always tried to understand what he means by that. And I thought for a while maybe it was a tactic to draw someone out, but I don't think it's a tactic. I don't think it's a tactic. I think he means it. And, you see people upstairs, or somebody that was trying to do some damage as a rebuttal to Galen or someone in that house, and not realizing it got so out of hand. But I don't know. They have more information that they could give out, and they should be giving out. That was the question, and that was the answer. Sorry, I had it in reverse order. Yeah, check out In the Archive. Check that out. See what you see. I mean, people, who are the people walking around? I have no idea. I hope the police interviewed all of them. People said, who's the guy in the shorts? Who's this guy? I don't know. I wish I knew. people have said to other people of this, you see Erskine there, and Erskine was no, didn't find the girls. Had texts leaked early on. Some of them proved to be true. Some of them weren't true. Probably what I think happened there is Erskine didn't actually see the scene, but talked to people that seen the scene, and that happens very, very often in first responder circles. Yeah, I think the rebuild was like for 300,000, but the actual, I'll have to see if I can find that. That shouldn't be privileged information. That should be pretty public. They're blocking the 911 tape, which we don't understand. I can't think of a reason why. I've had a couple different theories, but I don't want to guess. But just put it out. Like, it's been 8 years. You haven't used it to arrest anyone and whatever. What about arsenic in the wood? Someone said it could be an indication of accelerant. Arsenic in the wood. Arsenic could be in materials and things like that, but so the wood floors, here's the thing, is it wood floors or is it laminate floors? If you have wood floors, you're gonna find things in that wood, right? There's gonna be oils and things in that wood, but they're gonna be able to differentiate. That's been there for a long time. This was here now. The wood, that the oil itself will have been, over 20, 30, 50, maybe 100 years, disintegrates, and it looks different than stuff does like that's fresh and burn off. So there's definitely a way to tell. They took pieces of the floor. Now, I don't know exactly what happened with everything, but they definitely took pieces of the floor with them. Insurance company paid out. That's why the house was finally, yeah. I assume, unless the police wanted it to stay up for an investigation or for lock a jury through there, but they didn't lock that place up from day one. So I mean, ask her husband if he was awake and he could hear stuff. Did anyone hear? Boston Christian, I don't think anyone asked about that we could tell. That's what we're talking about in her deposition anyway. I don't think so. Just under 47. No problem, Mustang, but a good thing you brought up. We don't know that either, Boston Christian. We don't know that. I don't know that anyway. Hopefully police know that, but I don't know that. People have asked me many times. You would have to have a local, really. So Jim Smith had a car like that at that point. It's not uncommon to see a bunch of people outside at a fire. But at a fire that's questionable and you have dash cam footage and you need to identify them and just say, oh, it's just some dude from over the street that saw the flames. Or whatever. You have to eliminate the people that were there first. That's 101, right? Adam Ayers just got out of jail a few months prior, and Elizabeth filed for divorce the day after the arson. I've not heard what he was doing the night of the arson. Again, like Jinx is saying, doesn't mean that he's guilty. However, it's an interesting time to make that filing. There was another filing too of another person, another Adam, that was not long after this. It was Adam Randall. It wasn't the next night though, I don't think. Yes, there's been a payment, Boston Christian. We're not exactly sure if it was the rebuild value or what it was, but yes, they got their money. Birch Tree Holdings did. Which I don't think that could be possible in Pennsylvania. I asked a couple people about it, but in Indiana it is. Yeah. It's ruled arson, but he said that he thinks who set the fire didn't mean to do it. So if you didn't mean to kill anyone. So if you look at it that way, is he saying it was like a vandalism thing, or he said someone just got mad and did something but didn't have the intention of doing that? Or, early on I thought maybe it was a way to pull someone in and trap them, which I don't think it is now. I don't. I think Carter believes that. Well, I wouldn't rule. Maybe it's the Adam twofer, right? I don't know. Him and his dad screwed the pooch terribly on the initial investigation. What's up, Mark? Good to see you. Glad you're not working for once, or maybe you are. Hey, Brandon. BB, good to see you. We had some really good Really good Flora arson talk tonight. Troy Helderman, Josh Ayers. Yeah, that's when I say Birch Tree Holdings, that's like Jinx is saying, Helderman and Ayers. BB's page, check him out. Does cool stuff, takes cool trips. Yeah, well, what he said was there was a 2-inch wide path coming from the back room, the kitchen area into the dining room, and he saw that. So now here's the thing with Adam Ayer, with Adam, is should we believe that he saw that path? If he's our guy. So that makes me even wonder that. I don't know. It's a whole nother way to view the case, but we got to view it that way. We got to view it every way we can because we don't have the answers yet. Why didn't they rebuild the house? I don't know. I believe they still own the lot. I could be mistaken on that. I think that it would be awesome to, the city take it over. Hate to give them folks any more money, even though I don't think that they did this for insurance fraud. But they had some shitty things going on there, right? They could have been better landlords. Donate it, make it a park, something that in memory of the girls, basketball hoops or whatever. I think it would be fantastic. But Lisa, you think revenge on the landlord? So there's another one. Okay, Lisa. We were talking about revenge on Galen, revenge on the landlord. Interesting theory. Not a professional arsonist, someone blinded with rage. Hit you in your pocket where it hurts. That's another interesting theory too. These are all things I haven't looked at. Yeah, well, especially businesses. You're talking Main Street. I would assume maybe town hit a tough time or something like that. It is. It's crazy, and it isn't worth it because someone could get killed, a fireman, a cop, a citizen, whoever. And now you're just from an arson case or insurance fraud to some kind of murder charge. Yeah, so that's something that's absolutely insane to me. Josh Ayers was throwing rocks to bust out windows. So what I'd like to see, and I haven't seen it, is the police interview and say, why would you do that? What made you think that was a good idea? Where did you learn that at? Now, my friend Adam Randall told me about ventilation. Well, I'm not saying that's what he said, but maybe it is. But Josh Ayers knew as much, Adam Ayers knew as much about ventilation as Adam Randall, who you're the chief, and that guy's breaking that window on the front porch. So one of the slides I showed you is people will open windows up. I never understood why he was doing that. You're making a fire worse. It's an oxygen-starved fire. We're just feeding it. We're feeding it. Interesting theory, though. Sleuth was the first person that I saw that brought that up. Set fire to rental property for his nephew, Adam, who lived with door. No, I was saying Adam lighting the fire in the house that's next door to him. Not that he owns it. But I've seen people do that. So I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen people do that. So I just wanted to share you my experience. But no, as far as the Adam theory, Adam lighting the fire, the next door neighbor. Well, people would say, why would anyone light a fire right next door to them? Well, I've seen it. And as you could see, there wasn't really anything wrong with that house next door. It might have been some things melted or something like that, but that was it. So everyone will get out as a desperate move. Yeah, I don't know. If that's what I could almost definitively in my mind say that I just can't imagine that is for profit. Even the other things that are a little more crazy, more in play than I think that. Hyped up the person. No. I don't. Galen had her attorneys and everything, and I don't want to. I know she picked who she picked, but I think that she could have had, in my humble opinion, I'm not an attorney, better representation. But Adamir's caught my attention. It's only speculation. Mark, I think you shared it in Discord. And that's the first place I saw it. It's good, and you know what? It's a cogent theory. There's thought behind it, and it's something that I haven't heard. So I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited that, and I hope that this would happen. That when Delphi was adjudicated, whether you believe in an appeal coming or whatever, regardless of that, there's not going to be as much information coming out as when during trial, during arrest, stuff like that. So we dive into Flora. They have all these different people looking, and there's some really good theories that have come out. There've also been other theories that I vehemently disagree with and think it's easily proven that that's not what happened. But that's a great point. That is a great point. There certainly is a lot of fires in Carroll County, and there's certainly more minor deaths. It's like several 100% of the national average. Why is that? They had a smoke detector blitz in Flora after, too little, too late. But the statistics, I understand the people say the statistics. I get it. It's something's going on. Something's going on wrong there. Being broke whenever the civil suit was going on. 50K farm truck. Well, if you're gonna say you're broke, maybe you should drive a tractor to the courthouse, not a big truck. You're right, Shane. His broke, and I agree with you there. They're two different things. Climate Tech. That was their building that they had, or little. I don't know if it was a storefront business or a storage place, but yes, that also burnt. Well, that's good news. Flora filed excuse me. Kathy filed a formal case with the NSAG's office for the Flora reward money. And as a fire department, they said that was going there, and then it kind of went away, and we don't really know what happened. As a fire department, we wouldn't even have taken that money. You got to give it to someone else. And $40,000 for a fire department, if you're buying a piece of equipment or apparatus, is not a lot of money, unless someone's trying to funnel that off, and I'm not saying they are. That would always be good. FaceTime with other people. Galen's attorneys, golf buddies. Unless he tried to say he hired him privately. I don't know, but I would say you're the attorney for the council, which I'm the president of. Delphi wasn't perfect by no stretch of the imagination, investigation wise. Jinx, thank you so much for 5 new memberships. I don't know, Brandon. Maybe someone did accidentally. I can't imagine you'd say anything out of whack. Yeah, it could have been someone bumped something or whatever. Anyways, yeah, the people home, the fire wasn't, it wasn't a tremendous fire. The little bit of water, when they did put it on, you see it darkens down. Tons of smoke, oxygen starved. I think the flame started to jump the smoke. That happens. That's a phenomenon where fire can travel through smoke because it's superheated. It's gas. It's just like, it's like a volcano jumping around up there, if you will. So, but anyone that wants the Flora scoop or the information I got, Kevlar148gmail.com. I'll send you everything I got. Check out Sleuth's video. I think it's very interesting. And I'll never get mad if someone solves this case and it wasn't me. I'll just kick myself like, why didn't I see that? But more people. We've heard 2 or 3 different theories tonight. I wrote down 2 of them to check out. It's very interesting stuff, and we definitely have to, whatever we can do, right? If we could put a little bug in the ear or something, or get something going, or push the right button and get someone scared, maybe someone comes in and talks, because ultimately that's what we need. I don't think one person did this and didn't tell anybody, in my opinion. So Yeah, the codes are different. Remember, codes are different in counties. There's not even like a state code. I know for Pennsylvania, we have Allegheny County has a code. We follow the International Building Code. Used to follow BOCA, but I don't know. Very interesting stuff. I hope I learned a few things. I don't want to teach you anything, and taught you a few things about what we're taught, and things that we look for, things that you can look for. Christmas tree stuff. Just be careful. Make sure there's water in it, in the tree. If it's a real tree, if it's a fake tree, don't put water in the bottom of it. Remember your lights outside. If you can they make little clamps now, little plastic to go around where you have your extension cords plugged in. If you don't do that, put a piece of electrical tape. Just don't let water and stuff get in there. Usually it'll just kick right off, but just be careful. Don't plug 150 things into one outlet. Obviously, just be careful with what you're doing. Have a good time in the holiday season. You're out boozing it up. Have someone drive you or stay where you are, get an Uber, but by all means, drink and be merry wherever you go. So I hope that there was a little bit of enlightenment tonight. I didn't dive too much into Flora, but I just wanted to show you the types of arson things that we talk about, and I'll get more in depth with this as time goes on. And look for me, like I said, the 23rd, Monday the 23rd, we'll have a Christmas special. It'll probably be earlier in the day than 7 o'clock. Monday Night Football is on, and we're kind of kicking into the holiday gear, with Christmas Eve being the next day. So probably like 6 o'clock, and we'll keep it real cool, real, chill. I'll share the link. Anyone wants to come up, and I'm going to do my work to bring you the ghost of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. So that's something to look forward to. So I thank you, everybody, for all your comments. Chat's great. Someone said at one point there's 18 people in here, but all 18 people are commenting. That's fantastic. I love it. I don't need to be a huge YouTube page. I really don't. I enjoy the chats that we have. I really do. So I hope everyone enjoyed tonight. Have a good Tuesday. If it's garbage night where you are like it is here, don't forget to take the garbage out tonight so you can watch the garbage men choke slam your garbage cans into the ground because they have some grudge against garbage cans. I don't know. And they're knocking garbage men now. All right. I'm going to leave you to it. We don't say tentacles here anymore, but we're going to have a sip of Gatorade. I'm going to go cut up my burrito tacos, cut up some lettuce, dip the shells and do all that shit and get ready to enjoy it. And maybe watch some college hoops tonight or check out YouTube. Call my guy Frank back here, see what he wanted. So he'll be there Friday. Friday's Richard Allen sentencing. I know people feel differently about that, but I'm sure we'll all be tuned in. Maybe I'll get a porch video on my new porch here, just talking about it. But check the people out that go there, and they'll see what they have to say about the sentence. That'll be something to talk about for sure too. So I'll leave you to it. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. If I don't see you before, I'll see you Monday the 23rd for the Coach Kev's Christmas Spectacular, where I hope to bring 3 ghosts on. We'll see. So, all right, everyone, have a great night. I love you all. Thank you all for the fantastic chat and for giving me 3 or 4 things to think of. Coach Kev, out.